everybody. Welcome back to Two Nerds and a Podcast. Today, we are joined by the one, the only, PirateKingBoros.
Hello. Between heaven and earth, I am the honored one.
Yes, we have Wyatt on the pod because one, he did something exciting in the midst of me and Casey doing absolutely nothing. But two, he got to meet his celeb crush. So not only do we want to hear all the deets of the con, but also all the deets of one Miss Ella Purnell. So this was a last minute decision convention, right, Wyatt?
Oh yeah, it was like a meme. Like Joe as a flex to like screw with me, he texted me like a Miami Supercon post that said Ella Purnell was their guest of honor, and he said like, look who's coming to the next con I'm going to. And then almost immediately I just sort of kicked in his bedroom door and was like, where is she? No, like literally I was like, okay, so how much are the tickets? Like particularly on, like, I could just tell you guys the story from start to finish if you want.
Yes.
I'll try not to. I have to log into my phone and Instagram here. So yeah, he says, look who's coming to the con. Huh.
Oh my god, dude. I wish Scarlett would chill out.
No,
it's been like 15 minutes.
Oh, throttle.
No, think of it this way. She's gonna get tired eventually. Anyways, so Joe was like, look who's coming to the next con I'm going to. And I'm like, okay, so hypothetically, how much are tickets? And just for the day that she's there. And he's like, she's only there one day, so $63. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
Cool. Well, here's the thing. We later found out there was other expenses later. Thank God we didn't find it out too late, or I would have been like genuinely like inconsolably depressed. Anyways, that comes later, because we almost met Matthew Mercer, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, and a bunch of other people. But Joe, in his infinite wisdom, researching the con, told me all we needed to buy was the ticket to get in.
Oh, baby, no.
And so when we were like checking the site, I'm like, Joe, why are there reservation tabs under every celebrity guest? And he goes, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't have to know. You're lucky, because there's reservations remaining for Miss Purnell. And then I did all my... Anyways, so, but it's a bummer, because I bought a whole extra Jotaro Nendoroid, and now it's just going to have to wait to get signed until whenever Matthew Mercer hits Nashville again. Anyways, so that was that. We got our reservations. I was planning the entire trip just for Ella Purnell.
Of course.
But when I got on the site, I was like, wait, Sonic the Hedgehog and Neil Newbon are going to be there? Okay, I may as well. And so I got a Neil Newbon reservation, and then just withdrew a bunch of cash for Sonic, because he didn't do reservations. He just stays at his table all day and sees as many people as he humanly can. So
that's cool.
First come, first serve. You gotta go fast if you want to see Sonic. And then there was the matter of my flight, which was easy enough. I was originally planning to drive, but I have a car from 2010, and some days I don't know if it's going to get me to and from work. So I'm like, I don't know if I trust for an 800-mile drive.
Yeah,
I could have done it, but like stamina is not a thing. It's my stamina is not the problem.
It's the car's stamina.
It's 100% the car, yeah. So I flew over, and night one was simple. It was just I flew over. He took me back to his place with his parents. His mother made us pasta and meat sauce. It was awesome.
Ooh, delish.
And then we played Elden Ring. And Joe, people who know me and follow me as well, the mutual friends in the subscription feed, rather, will know that Joe is a member of my pirate crew. He regularly shows up on my streams and videos. That guy is the most frustrating gamer on planet Earth. because he's like laser focused on like all of 2 elements in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jamie, you've seen me play Elden Ring, right?
Yes.
And you see how I talk to everyone, I pick up everything, I look at everything, I read everything, because that's what you're supposed to do to get the most out of that game.
Is it?
Joe doesn't do that. He just beelines for every single boss.
That's literally my dad. That's how my dad plays.
I literally am like scrolling through his inventory. I'm like, where are all your weapons? And he's like, oh, I just picked those up from like enemy drops and like from like what was right in front of me. And I'm like,
Joseph, look around.
Well, no, and it's funnier still because he's like, hey, I think there's something wrong with my game. This one thing won't happen. Like, he's trying to basically, I won't elaborate beyond like the story purposes, but basically you need to blow a giant finger trumpet to summon a giant god and fight it. But long story short, you need to talk to Count Ymir at the church of the fingers before you can get like the little flute key to blow the giant finger trumpet. Anyways, my point is, Joe finds his way to the finger trumpet and he's like, hey, my game's broken. I don't know. It's not letting me do it. And I'm like, did you start the quest? and he goes, what? And I go, give me your controller. And I open his map, and sure enough, he hasn't even been to the place where the guy is that you need to talk to start the quest. And I'm like, Joseph!
Oh my gosh.
Joseph.
Just because when you find a save point, it gives you a generic-ass golden arrow in the general direction of the general story, doesn't mean you need to follow the arrow straight away. You can walk off the path. It's fine. They made the game open world for a reason. The night consisted of me berating Joe because of how terrible he is at playing Elden Ring, despite the fact that he's good at the combat. He's good at the combat, but terrible at everything else. Like, literally, I was doing backtracking and finding, like, items that were in, like, plain sight that he just didn't pick up because. And I'm like, bro, just... I literally found like 80 weapons in like an hour. I was like, dude, just play the game. Just play the game. But we love Joseph. We love Joe.
We do.
But anyways,
we love Joe.
So that was the first night. And the next day, he took me out with his girlfriend. And we went to the malls that they go to. And they took me to all their stores that they regularly go to get... anime stuff.
Weeb shit.
And I realized how out of it I was because it's been so long since I've been to a mall. Because in California we went to Westfield all the time, but in Tennessee there's not really a mall anywhere out here. I mean, there might be one in Nashville, but I'm not going to drive an hour and a half for a mall, you know?
Yeah.
So
you don't have like a local mall.
No, the closest thing we have to that is like just like a strip, like a small convenience store strip, but it's even then it's not really a mall. So like, because there's not really many stores there.
Yeah.
So when I walk into the first anime store, I keep looking at stuff and then I just wonder aloud. I go, why is everything so expensive? And then one of the employees on the other side of the shelf goes, 'cause you're in a mall. And I'm like, oh yeah. I've been bumping it with in the boonies with the country bumpkins for 3 years now. I forgot how expensive malls are. So I was very reserved. I did not buy as much as I normally would have, but I did get you and Casey things that I will bring in August when I come to visit California.
Stuff.
I love surprises.
Small things. Don't get too excited. It was small stuff. Anyways.
Hey, I'm excited for any and all gifts, okay?
You'll love them. Anyways. So, we did hit 2 hot topics. The first of which I got a really, really, really cool... Hey, you guys have seen The Amazing Digital Circus, right? Casey, you did see it?
No.
Wyatt forced me to watch it, which is the only reason that I've seen it.
But it's okay. Well, you remember the really rude bunny character, Jax?
Yes.
I found a great shirt with Jax on it. And since me and the Discord all unanimously agree that Jax is the best character, I needed to buy it. That's like a dedicated stream shirt now. So, and then immediately after, at the very next hot topic, I was skimming the wall and I found a Fallout shirt with Ella Purnell on it. So I like exorcist scuttled across the side of the shelf to try and find the thing. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Yes, gimme. And I like scuttled through it. I was like, where? Yes, they have my size. Perfect. So I bought 2 shirts that day.
Literally, when I saw you had that shirt, the last time I was in a Hot Topic, I literally looked at that and went, I could get that for Wyatt eventually. So now I'm glad you own it, because I would have bought it for you anyways.
I'm glad I got it. My mother, after I got home from the con, I'm jumping ahead. I'm gonna jump right back though. When I got home from the con, my mother was like, "Dude, you should have asked her to sign the shirt. Ask her to sign your chest." And I'm like, "Mother, this is not the '80s. Something like that would have got me pepper sprayed." 100%. But anyways, so I got that shirt, and then we went home, and we took a side trip to drop off Joe's girlfriend, and then went back to his place. And Joe just wanted to play video games again, but I had a mission. I sat down on his bed, and I stayed up till 1:30 a.m. with Joe because he was playing video games, but I was drafting a letter to Ella Purnell. Literally, I just sat there with my giant ass notepad, like writing, and I kept doing a pen, like I was writing it in pen because I don't like how pencil smears sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could write the most perfect handwriting and spell everything perfectly, and then it'll just smear because screw you for writing in pencil, I guess, you know?
Especially if you're left-handed, it's real hard.
Yeah, Casey knows the struggle.
I'm just saying, just like lead in general is hard to write with, right or left-handed. Anyways, so I was writing it in pen, so I had to keep. Joe was just like playing Elden Ring and Demon's Souls and stuff, and every now and then he'd just hear a rip, rip, and it was a really funny like cycle of the night. Because he'd be like playing, and then he'd die, and then during the respawn load screen, he'd spin around in his office chair and go, "Dude, you're still doing that?" And then he'd turn back around and keep playing games.
Yeah, I am. Rip.
Yeah, I am. Rip. I was pretty proud of it when I was done with it. So yeah, that was that, and I got the next morning, I got up, I got my backpack ready, I got all my stuff in it. I had bought a new copy of Sonic Frontiers, because the first one I got and streamed was on Steam, so it's not a physical one. So I went to Walmart before my trip and bought a $30 copy of Sonic Frontiers for the PS5. And I was like, sick, I'll just have Sonic sign this. And then I dug through my PS5 games that I've already played, and I found my copy of Resident Evil Village, which, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people know Neil Newbon for Asterion, which is valid. I haven't played the game yet, but I do plan to. It's in my Steam wish list. But I know him from Resident Evil Village. He's like this cocky, snarky, magna kinetic zombie dude. It's not easy to explain, but the point is he's in Resident Evil 8, and so I brought that. And then for Ella Purnell, I brought obviously the fan letter, and then I brought the Jinx Nendoroid that Ben got me for my birthday last year, and a Lucy statue that I ordered that had to get shipped in from Australia.
Oh, dang.
I was like, I'm gonna have something Fallout related, and it's not gonna be like a poster or something because they sell those there. I'm gonna bring like something cool. So we head out, and I've got my leather jacket, my hat, my 2 pairs of glasses that I'm going to have the celebrity guests wear in the photos. That was just the theme. Every celebrity guest I took a picture with, I was like, which of these do you want to wear? And anyways, we get there, we're walking in, and I put on my costume and everything, and suddenly some dude dressed as Spider-Man points at me and goes, "Are you from Fallout?" And I was so taken aback by like the directness of the question. I totally misunderstood what he was asking. I thought he was asking if I was one of the actors. So I was like, no, I'm me. And he went, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then he just walked off, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
And then Joe's,
he's like, what?
And then so what happened, because what happened was I was beelining for Ella Purnell's line, because we made it there at like 10:15ish, and her stuff opened at 11, and that was where I got my autograph reservations. So I beeline for that line, right? And I get in line, but as I'm walking to the back of the line, I'm passing, and everyone keeps going, "Hey, it's the ghoul! Hey, it's the ghoul! Hey, it's the ghoul!" And I'm so confused. And I'll explain what happened later. Don't worry. There's a hilarious explanation for what's going on. But I'm like, why does everyone think I'm whatever? Anyways, and I get in line, and I'm just talking with people, right? And we're in like the pre-line, because they like need to like scan your reservation tickets. And so I get up to the table where there's a lady with the scanner, and she's like, "Okay, yep, you have 2 autographs. Cool. Do you want to buy an extra autograph in any of these prints?" And I'm like, "Nope, I just am here with what I want to get signed." And she's like, That's fine. Come right this way." And she puts me in this very short, like when you're at an amusement park and you get really close to the ride and you get into that metal zigzaggy area. She puts us into one of those, right? Because you guys know how a con looks, right? In a general sense, the line of tables with all the actors and voice actors just sitting there. Yeah. Ella Purnell is like curtained off in the corner because they don't want people like bum rushing her table and stuff, which makes sense. Yes. So the tension is growing. The anxiety in my soul was brimming, and I started to be very, very not okay. It was a problem. I don't know what happened. My stomach started churning, my throat twisted into a knot, and I got very weak in the knees because I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's like 20 feet away from me. I can't see her, but she's there." And then like I was like, "I'm standing on cement. Why is it squishy?" And then it was funny because the dude behind me, he was dressed in like a Party City Fallout costume, right? So it was like cheap onesie with like the plastic Vault Boy face,
Yeah.
But he immediately noticed something was off, and he was like, dude, are you okay?" And then I started to feel like more anxious because I realized I couldn't talk.
Oh.
I was like, I need a minute. And then the guy in front of me turns around and goes, "Oh no, we have one of these."
One of these.
And I was like, "Ow." That was all I could get out. Rude. And he was like, hey, you think this is bad? Just wait till you get in there with her and you're right in front of her. Then it gets real. And the guy behind me goes, "Don't say that." And he's like, and then the guy in front of me goes, "Hey, I'll make sure your head doesn't hit the floor, but I will not catch you." And I'm like,
well, I mean, at least he protected your head. So
yeah, I'm like, at least he guarantees I won't have any lasting injuries to anything except my pride. But then the guy behind me was much kinder. So he put one arm around me on my shoulder and the other arm on my chest, and he sort of like shook me and like patted me and was like, hey. And he leans forward wearing this stupid, dead-eyed, like plastic mask, and he goes, "I threw up when I met Mark Hamill. You got this."
Oh, and
I'm
God.
like, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna put both of these guys to shame. I'm gonna get it together." And I almost didn't. So I get even closer, and I finally, like, I catch my breath, and there's you get to, like, the curtain that opens and they let you in, and there's 3 stages. You walk up at the doorway, and then you walk up to the end of the table where you talk to her handler, who, like, figures out what all you're getting signed and asks you what colors you want and stuff. And then you talk to her, and then you just leave. That was pretty much it. So when I get to the entrance, I'm like, I try to look up for a second, and my vision blurs, and I go, nope, and I turn around, and I put my back to the whole room, and I'm looking at the line, and I go, so how are you guys doing today?
Oh.
So, and then they said, okay, we're ready for the next one, and the guy in the plastic mask lifted it up, and I saw his real face for the first time, and he goes, hey, good luck, you got this, you're gonna have fun, trust me. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention part of the conversation with them earlier in the line. I was like, no, guys, you don't understand. This is my first con, first anything. And she's also my celebrity crush. And then the guy in front of me goes, wait, so this is your first time going to a con? Yeah. This is your first time meeting a celebrity? Yeah. And you thought your celebrity crush was a good idea for a first? And I was like, it's a bit late for this.
All the way through.
And in my defense, I was very hyped and full of bravado until I was actually here.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so they said, we're ready for the next one. And I met her handler. I don't ever think I got her name. She was a very, very sweet woman. She had this nice, like, straw hat that I'm sure Jamie would have loved.
Oh,
and
I love a good straw hat.
It was awesome. I was like, I just remember staring directly at the hat for a second, like, that's an awesome hat. Anyways, and she was like, hello, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm here. And she's like, are you good? And I'm like, I'm very nervous. It's my first time doing anything here, and my soul is second guessing everything. And she's like, oh, don't worry. And then I also was, like, a bit nervous at first. I told her, I was like, I have a letter. Is that okay? And she immediately went, "Aw, yeah, sure, that's fine." Yeah. And I was like, so do I give it to you or to her? And she's like, no, you can give it directly to her. Don't worry. And then she was like, now tell me, what all do you have to sign? And so I pulled out all the 2 things, and she went, oh my God, we haven't seen either of these yet.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because it's a Nendoroid, and the Nendoroid references the game, so most people probably wouldn't bring it to begin with, even if they had it. And also, it's like a niche Japanese merch thing that Ben got me, because it's Ben. Yes. And then the statue is from Australia, because McFarlane Toys hasn't released them in America yet.
Oh.
That's why it took a sec to get here, and when it got here slightly damaged, I didn't care, because I was like, look, I need something, I don't care.
And you're not gonna send it back because it came all the way from Australia.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and by the time it arrived, it was like 4 days till my trip. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
So, shut up, Scarlett. I'm talking.
She's back at it.
No, you must hear the bell.
Anyways, and so she helped me pick colors, and honestly, I think she probably helped me the most, because she was like, hey, don't worry, you are handling it way better than some people I have seen. Because I think she could tell, like, the starstruck, right?
Yeah.
And when it was my turn, I scooch over and scooch all my stuff, and I meet her gaze, and immediately my world is set on fire. and she the first words out of her mouth are, hi, you look great.
Oh.
And I'm like, and at first I wanted to go, aw, but in the back of my mind I'm like, god damn it, she thinks I'm the ghoul. Why does everyone think I'm the ghoul? All I did was throw on a jacket. Like a leather jacket. You guys have seen the picture.
Yeah.
So but you can't tell what's wrong in the picture. I'll explain later. So
okay.
I immediately, I'm like, okay, I'm not fainting, I'm not puking. this is good.
It's good.
This is great. This is fine. This is okay. We're good. And so I try to speak, and my throat goes, yeah, I'm still not going to work for you today. And so I go, I wrote this for you. And I hold out the letter. Jamie, Casey,
Yeah.
my hand is shaking so hard, you can hear the paper rustling in the envelope. She either didn't notice or didn't care, because she just said, "Aw," and then took it and put it with her stuff, right?
Yeah.
And she picked up the Nendoroid that Ben gave me, and she was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen this before. This is the one from the game, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my best friend got me that for my birthday last year when he saw how crazy I was about Arcane and Jinx." And she was like, "Aw, that's a good friend right there."
He is a good friend.
He is a good friend. Such a good friend. Ben, send me more Jinx stuff for my birthday this year. Anyways, and then she saw the Lucy statue and she's like, "Dang, I haven't seen this stuff." And I'm like, "Dang, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm unable to express it physically because I'm just petrified with like a mixture of ecstasy and anxiety." So
yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Yes, I brought the legendary secret sacred treasures no one else has." And there's like hundreds of people in the line, so I'm trying not to take up too much of her time. And I'm like, "Is it possible to ask for a quote?" And she goes, "If it's a small one." And I originally had a plan to have her write like a quote on both, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, no, for the sake of brevity, I just asked her to write. Have either of you seen Fallout?
Yes.
So
No.
her catchphrase?
I don't remember.
She wrote Okey Dokey on Lucy.
Oh.
And then she wrote a big old heart. She wrote a big old heart next to it. So that was her, right? And I got all my stuff, and I to the best of my ability, I tried to give her like praise for Jinx in Arcane and Lucy in Fallout. I was like, "Look, that's the phone right there." Anyways,
birds ringing.
The house phone bird.
Birds ringing. So I tried to. I told her like, "Yeah, Arcane is like one of my top 5 shows ever. Really excited for November season 2, and I'll be so real. I wasn't quite as captured with Fallout, but I told her that her and Walton Goggins hard carried that show.
Oh, for sure.
And it is because of them too there's the sole reason I am waiting for season 2. And she was very flattered and equally she is equally excited for the season 2s of both shows. She assured me.
Nice.
And it was really something. It was really wholesome because her handlers didn't need to shoo me out; they needed to shut her up, because she and me kept, every time I tried to say something with like a period, in my mind I was like, I have 30 seconds or something, right? So
yeah.
I'm like trying to say like definitive things with like a period, but she keeps riffing off of everything that I'm saying, and I'm like, this isn't a conversation, this is a podcast. And then sure enough, her friend with the hat was like, "All right, you got everything?" And I'm like, yep. And I like, by then I was comfortable because like it was like a roller coaster, I'd made it over that first hill.
Yeah.
So I got my stuff and I was like, "Thank you very much." And she's like, "No problem." And as I'm walking away, she calls after me and goes, "Oh, and thank you for the letter."
Oh.
And I was like, and I will admit, I was frazzled for the umpteenth time. So I went, "No prob. Have a good day." And I just walked out, shuffled out. And it was a very heartwarming first con chunk, because the 2 guys from before were waiting. Oh no, we lost Casey.
Oh no, Casey.
Her bird pulled the router. This is what you get for not paying attention to me. I'll wait a sec.
Yeah, we'll see if she comes back.
She should come back, right?
I would think so.
She's just gonna need to like reset it. Take her a few minutes. Dang, even retelling it, my stomach churns a bit. Just that anticipation was so like hard to deal with. But like as soon as I like started talking to her, it was alleviated almost immediately. And I like, because mind you, my brain was still fried from being in Ella Purnell's aura there she is.
Yay!
I'm back,
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Casey.
I don't know for how long, but
Casey. As I was saying, I'll just restart this bit of the story because I only told a side bit. Neil Newbon was parked right next to Ella Purnell, but he wasn't curtained off. And his line was a bunch of Baldur's Gate cosplayers. The VIP line had a Asterion cosplayer. She looked really good. So, like, because my brain was still deep fried from being in Ella Purnell's aura for so long, I just stared at them for a second, and then I just started walking, and I said, wow, that's just Neil. And the person freaked out because they thought it was, like, the ultimate compliment.
Oh.
And I didn't even, like, intend to do that. I was like, dang. And I just, like, I shook myself back to reality. I was like, that just happened. That just happened. I've never felt so alive. And then, like, the wholesome moment was capped off because the guys who were with me in the line were waiting for me.
Oh,
to make
so
sure
sweet
I was okay.
That you made it.
Make sure I was okay. They're like, see, you did it. And I'm like, you're right. That was great. And I said, I could meet anyone, guys. I could meet Jesus. And then the guy who was standing in front of me goes, he's so happy he could die. And then we all just went our separate ways. So that was the first part of the day.
I love people at conventions that have that kind of attitude, that because we're all there to be nerds. And so I love when they're like looking out for other people, especially if I see somebody that's alone, I try to be, especially in line, like, are you okay? And chit chat and stuff like that. So I love conventions for that purpose.
So next we perused the the pop-up vendors and stuff.
Artist Alley, yeah.
No, we hit Artist Alley at the very end of the day. We were looking at the vendors, the people selling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we found a vendor that was advertising a new con that's coming in October next year called MiraiCon. And to help with their advertisement, they just had Mihawk's English voice actor.
Is that why he was there?
Just sitting there. And me and Joe walked past and looked at each other, causing his girlfriend to be like perplexed because we'd stopped and were just staring at each other. And then, like, robotically in perfect unison, we just walked backwards and looked again. And we're like, why is he just here? No fanfare, no nothing. He's just parked in a vendor. He has like a few printouts and stuff he could sign, and like he's just there. Is John Gramillion or whatever his last name is, the voice of Hawkeye's Mihawk from One Piece and Gentle Criminal from My Hero Academia, just in a booth there. And I'm like, hi? Why are you... What? And he's like... I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were here. I would have brought like a volume of One Piece or something for you to sign. And he's like, I didn't know I was here until a week ago. and that was that. And so at first we walked away after talking to him for like 5-10 minutes, just to like, he's not getting as much attention as the other guys, so we felt like we should give him some. And so we were chatting, and then we started walking away, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I shove all my stuff in Joe and his girlfriend's arms, and I march right back, pull out my wallet, pull out a wad of cash, and slam it on the desk. And I'm like, can you trash talk my brother in character for not coming to the con with me? And he said, and he tallied the money to make sure, and then he put it in his box, and he put his hand on his chin, and he said, "What's his name?" And it was that was fun. Lucas, remember how I invited you to this con, bro? Yeah. Guess who?
Hello, Lucas. It is I, John Grimion, the voice of one Hawkeye Mihawk, warlord of the sea, and world's greatest swordsman from One Piece. It's too bad you're not here, because I'm too busy pining over Perona, dealing with Buggy and Crossgill, but I'm so disappointed in you. I've got a challenge for you. I'll train you to surpass me. How about it, Lucas? Get over here. Cheers.
Awesome. And then I walked a little further, and I think the one con item I got that wasn't given to me for free or an autograph or a photo shoot was the Woodburn coasters that I got.
Oh, I saw those.
Yes.
Puchita and Makima. The only reason I got those two characters in particular was because he had a big, like, massive lineup of them on his table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so many different symbols and characters and references and everything, and I was like, this is a dope way to make money at a con. But so I'm like, he had a deal, 1 for $6, 2 for $10, and so I'm like, I'll do the 2 for $10 if I see 2 characters from the same show, and everything was from like one show. Like, he only had like Killua from Hunter x Hunter, Luffy from One Piece, Goku from Dragon Ball. He had like only one character, and then in the top left corner I saw Puchita and Makima, and I'm like, I will take the 2 Chainsaw Man characters for $10. The adorable doggo and the toxic girlfriend. And he was like, sweet, and I got that. That was my souvenir there. And then we marched around a little more, and I was like, I decided I had to go to the bathroom. I'd waited long enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's time to alleviate the stress that the anxiety instilled in me, if you catch my meaning. So I gave my stuff to Joe and his girlfriend again, and I went to the bathroom. First off, finding the bathroom was a Da Vinci Code puzzle in and of itself, because it's like this weird sealed off wall. Like, you need to leave Wall Rose and Wall Maria just to go to the bathroom. You had to walk for a while to find a bathroom. So I finally did, and by then I really had to go. So I went in and I found one of those. It was completely empty at the time, so I found one of those handicap stalls that had like a sink and a mirror in it. So I was like, cool. I went in there, I did my business, I got up, put my coat back on, I'm washing my hands, and I look in the mirror, and I am just in awe. The Florida humidity has completely destroyed my leather jacket.
Oh, no.
It is peeling. It is ragged. And I'm like, this is why everyone thinks I'm the ghoul. Because I'm wearing this raggedy ass junky no, it's deteriorating in real time. I'm dropping black snow everywhere I walk. I look like I was freshly irradiated. Like, it's a serious... I was just like, okay, so that's it then. I'm Timu Ghoul. That is my cosplay. And so I just left. I left the bathroom, met a couple of people outside the bathroom who had cool costumes, and talked to them about Jujutsu Kaisen for like 5 minutes, as you do. And then I went back to my friends. I sent Joe a text. I was like, needed to solve the Da Vinci Code to find the bathroom. Sorry. And where I had left them, by the way, was Neil Newbon's line. That was where we were going to go next. Oh, Casey.
Gosh dang.
It's all right. You can stitch all this together.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Casey, you should hear this too. Pedro Pascal meme. You should hear this too. Every time you re-enter, I'm doing the Pedro Pascal meme where I'm turning around and going, you should hear this too.
You should hear this too.
You should know this too. I keep seeing people share my photo with Ella Purnell on Instagram, and it's a bunch of fan pages. So my heart does a leap because I think it's her, only to see it's a fan page. So I just get mad.
You're like, gosh dang you.
Got out of the bathroom, and where I left them was Neil Newbon's line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go there, and we're waiting. We end up waiting there for around 3.5 hours.
Wow.
Because
Oh my God.
Neil Newbon is a very nice man, and he tries to
He
talk
is.
to and interact with as many people as he can for as long as he can. And I don't regret it. We got to, because it was all zigzag line the entire time, we got to talk to like 20 different people on loop and get to know a lot of people and hang out. And I was standing in front of a woman who was a little older than me, but she was dressed as Ripley from Alien.
Oh.
And she unzipped like the little pocket on her shoulder and pulled out this little ceramic duck and said, "Do you want a duck?"
Did you
And
go, okay?
I said, "Sure." And she gave it to me, and I sort of just held it there, making. I had like claw fingers because of the way I was letting it sit in my palm, and I
Yeah.
looked at it, and I was completely frozen except for my eyes. And I looked at it, I looked at her, I looked at it, I looked at her, I looked at it, I looked at her, and then I looked at it, and then back at her, and then I said, I give up. What's the Alien reference?" And she goes, "Oh, there's no reference. I've just decided that I'm the duck girl at cons." And she's been handing them out
Nice.
everywhere all the time. So she gave me 2 of those, and I gave them to my mom.
Oh.
So now mom put them with her milk glass. So yeah, that was that. And I met other cosplayers who told me all about Baldur's Gate and stuff. They were all very kind. But what happened was Neil had to go do a panel and then photo shoots. So what they did is they cut off the line and they pulled out a deck of Post-it notes and they wrote a number, and the handler wrote a number and his initial on it, and then he passed them out to each group. So we were free to go do whatever we wanted. And by then it was like 3:15 ish. So I was like, "Guys, I have a photo shoot with my wife at 3:20. I'll be right back. Can I leave my stuff with you?" And they were like, "Sure." And I dipped, and the photo shoot was different than I expected. Not disappointing at all, but different than I expected. I thought we were going to have like a second.
Yeah.
So I brought like an extra hat, some gloves, like I brought props.
Yeah.
Like a goof. But anyways, no, what it is they have the professional photographer set up. You step in, you get your one photo, and then you're out. When they say, when the ticket says you get 2 photos, what it means is you get 2 copies of your photo, which I think is good, which I think is totally fine, because you could take one and frame it and then take the other one and get it signed or whatever, So I cashed in both because it's 2 copies and a free digital, so I didn't see a problem with that. So I got there to the photo op place, and there's like 20 aisles drawn with tape, and I was told, get in line 15, and I was like, okay, sick. Casey. Seems like somebody needs to pay more for their Wi-Fi.
Well,
like I
she
am.
lives in the boonies, so there is no other option. I thought I lived in the boonies. She really lives in the boonies. We might have to continue without her. Her internet is having a conniption.
Oh no.
Okay, she said to finish without her.
But anyways, okay, where were we? So I go to the photo shoot.
So you come back to the line.
No. The photo shoot. I'm good. It has its own stories. So I go to the photo shoot. They put me in line 15, and the one of the young women working as like the con staff, right, is just like, okay, guys. She has a very like baseline general no contact, no props rule. And I'm like, okay, so no hat, no gloves, none of that. Gotcha. No jacket, none of that. No contact, that's fine. You want to make that general rule? That's per every celebrity. Like apparently Neil Newbon was okay with contact. Should have got that photo shoot because he took some fun. I saw a ton of the photos. He was doing crazy poses. It was funny. But next time. Anyways, and I'm like, that's fair, whatever. And so I like approached her and I'm like, hey, so I'm doing this thing with everyone else here where I have these 2 pairs of sunglasses and I let them pick one for the photo just so all the photos match. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but like, could I ask her if she wanted to? And she was like, I mean, yeah, sure. But like, she has that general rule, so there's no guarantee she'll say yes. And I'd run it by her handler first just to be sure, you know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I get in there. They have little cubby holes where I can shove the rest of my stuff.
Oh, nice.
And so I did that. And then they sent me in. And it was funny because what happens is I'm watching and it's a bunch of like nerds and stuff just cycling in. And the camera lady is trying her damnedest to get like these dudes who barely leave their room to pose for a decent photo. Like she is coaching them to the best of her ability. So she's like, sir, if chin up, chin in, straighten your back, please.
She's trying to make them look
like she's
their
trying
best.
to make it look like a decent photo.
Yeah.
So I get up and I'm like, hey, and she goes, hey. Like, I think she recognized me vaguely. So I was like, yeah, hey, I'm doing this thing where everyone I'm getting photos with is wearing one of these pairs of glasses. Would you like to do it? And she goes, so I just pick one? And I was like, yeah. And she just snatched the orange Jolly Rancher ones and threw them on. And I was like, can we do the Vault Boy pose? And she was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And she tried to, it was funny. She like puffed out her cheeks and tried to do like a serious face. And I kind of wish that the camera lady just went with it because it would have been a really adorable picture. But the reason my smile looks like I'm trying to stifle a laugh in that picture is because the camera lady goes like gives like this weird stink eye and like utters a sigh and goes, Miss Purnell, I'm gonna need you to, and then she starts coaching her and she's like, oh, now look what you did, you got them on me. She's like, you've got them on me now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I okay. And then so we did the pose. I got the glasses back. I'm like, thank you so much, you're awesome. And that was the last time I saw her that day. But yeah, so that was amazing. So I went out, I got around, I was like, I can't believe she agreed to it. She made an exception for me. Yay! And then I went to the photo printer, got the 2 printouts, and the con knows exactly what you're gonna need, so they very strategically place them where you need them, like the extra stuff to buy. Like when I got my stuff signed by her, I went to the secure like protect place to get like plastic boxes to carry them with. Then I went to that exact same spot and was like, what can I get to stick these 2 photos in immediately? That's why when I tried to send you a photo of the photo before I'd gotten my digital, it was like shiny because it's in like a plastic protector. Yeah. Because I did not want to take a chance with that photo.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
So I'm carrying that back, and everyone keeps telling me how cute a photo it is because I'm showing it off to literally every human being I'm encountering.
Look at it!
Look at it! You will look at it! And literally, it was so surreal. I kept pulling it out of my backpack to look at it. Oh
yeah, it's so exciting. I love that for you.
And then I get back to the line to check, and Neil Newbon is still not back yet, and we just have our little like place card. And so I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And he's like, we could go see Roger Craig Smith, Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Neil won't be back for like an hour. So we go wait in the Sonic line. We talk to more people there. And, we're just hanging out. And we get up there. And I had my own wholesome interaction with Roger Craig Smith. Because for those of you who don't know, I guess you could call me like a Sonic Zoomer. I got on the trend during the middle of the hype of like the previous era. So like my peak passion for the brand transpired when the voice actor for Sonic changed. And what that voice actor changed to was Roger Craig Smith. Originally it used to be the 4Kids actor Jason Griffith. He's the one like you're too slow, like that guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy. So, but then Roger Craig Smith is the guy that took place after him. So, like, Sonic Colors to now. And I still remember back in the day when I popped Sonic Colors in on my Wii and started it, and Sonic started talking, and my, like, 11-year-old brain was like, what, why, he sounds wrong, what? And even my dad was like, why does he sound like a college student? And I told Roger Craig Smith, like, yeah, the change was jarring at first for my 11-year-old brain, because as a child, you're not ready for change. And he goes, yeah, that makes sense. And I told him, like, the college student comment that my dad made, and he laughed. And I told him that over the years, I had grown to appreciate him in ways that my kid self could never have anticipated. Because yes, Jason Griffith was my childhood, but Roger Craig Smith kept it alive.
Yeah.
So he is his own sort of precious to me in terms of like performance. And he really appreciated that. And he was a little antsy at first when I showed him the quote I wanted to write on it. He's like, that's gonna sort of cover the whole thing. And I'm like, dude, it's for an autograph, cover the whole thing. Go for it.
Yeah.
And he talked to me about all sorts of things, like the Sonic Netflix show. He said like he was really excited for the era we live in because it's the best time to be a Sonic fan because there's just so much going on with the brand. You got the movies, the Netflix show, the remastered games and the new games and all the cool stuff happening. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely the brand era. We'll have to see if what all good comes of it, because Frontiers was a step in the right direction. Me and Joe both agreed on that. But yeah, so that was a very wholesome interaction. He didn't want to put on the glasses. That's why in his photo, he's sort of holding them in front of his face.
Okay.
Because what he does is he does not sit behind his table and sign things. He stands in front of it and interacts with you directly. Which results in him having touched God knows what for the past 6 hours. So he doesn't want to touch his face. So he was like, would it be all right if I just held them out in front of me? I'm like, hey, that's perfectly fine by me. Yeah. So that's why if you look on my Instagram, there's photos of him just holding the glasses out in front of him. And it looks unique, so I'm not complaining. And then there's a regular photo of him and me. So that was cool. And that was that. And then, we made it back to Neil Newbon's line, where we waited, I want to say, another 45 minutes. And it was funny, because some of the other people who had number cards came back, and some of them had gone to his photo shoot. And this one woman had this photo where she was just like, he was like posing with like his fingers extended in a claw-like manner with like his mouth open like savagely, and she was sort of like knelt at his side with her hands extended in like a prayer motion looking up at him, and I'm like, dear God, you're a simp. and that's coming from me. I simp, but that, darling, that is simping. That is prime simpage right there. Anyways, so eventually, he gets back and the line starts to move again. And he was very, very hyped to get back to it. And, but But another thing happened involving another cosplayer. I don't know how familiar you are with Warhammer, but a Warhammer cosplayer came marching by, like this big hulking, crazy space dude. And I was like, hey, I don't know much about Warhammer, but that's a pretty crazy getup you got there. I've only ever played Space Marine, and I'm waiting for Space Marine 2. That's I'm still pretty invested in the brand as is. So, nice costume. I recognize what it is. And what he did was he didn't answer at first. He sort of lifted up this satchel with his giant cosplay hand, and he reached inside it, and he pulls out some lore for you. In Warhammer, when the Marines are done fighting a war, they pull off their armor and they start to peel off the wax seals with scriptures on them and give them out to the survivors. And so he opens his little satchel and pulls out one of those and hands it to me and goes, "May this be a sign of your purity in the days to come." And I thought at first, I thought he was doing a bit. So I was like, oh, that's cool that you like made this. And I tried to hand it back, but when I looked up, he was gone. So I was like, oh. It's just a thing he's doing. Okay, cool. And I realized it had like a little magnet on it, like one of those 2-piece magnets that allows you to put it anywhere on your clothes. Yeah. So I put it on my clothes and wore it the rest of the day.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was cool. Yeah, it was another thing. But yeah, I eventually made my way up to Neil Newbon, and he plays a very charismatic character in the game Resident Evil Village. He plays Heisenberg, which is like a magnetic zombie werewolf dude. There's really no other better way to put it.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, but that's also because his performance is derivative of Nicolas Cage, so they leaned in on it more. And so there's, I don't remember it word for word, but there's a line about how like something about a dude getting his junk chopped off in a castle, and I was like, can you write that line on here?
Yak, as a man's dick is cut off in the castle, blah, blah, blah.
With my, with an autograph, and he's like, oh, wait, no, I forgot. Okay, so before we got up to him, right, we were in line with our number, and his handler walks out and goes, alrighty. He tries to like limit what we do. He's like, no quotes, no this, no that, as if we hadn't paid for it and been waiting 4 hours. Like, dog, I'm gonna get whatever I want. Forget it. And so I walk up, and he's like, so what all are you getting? And to write on his sticky note, and I'm like, so I prepaid for an autograph. How much more for a quote and a selfie? And he tried to be like, no quotes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I walked to get into like the right before Neil line. And right before I get to him, I hear the guy go, oh crap, okay, so my scanner's dead, Neil, I'll be right back. And he scurries off, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go get that quote. Yes, yes. And so I marched up to Neil, and that's when I asked him for the quote. And what ended up happening is he's like, there's like 70 people here, man. He was really sweet. The first thing he did was ask my name and extend his hand for a handshake.
Aww.
And then I told him the first thing out of my mouth was because he's just there as Neil Newbon with Baldur's Gate 3 and Asterion on his poster, right? Because that's the most new thing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to be so real. I have not touched Baldur's Gate 3. But I have this, and I pulled out Resident Evil Village, and he was like, oh, and he didn't say it, because, like, why would he? But you could see behind his eyes, like, thank God someone's not here for the horny vampire. Thank God. And,
nice change.
But he was like, oh, yes, great time, great game, love this. And then he was like, do you want me to address it to you? And I was like, no, I just want your name on it. Because I find it nice when it's just like the quote with the name. I don't have any like hate for it when someone does that. I just personally don't prefer it, you know, than the whole addressed to me type thing. Maybe if I ever have something like more personal.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if one of my favorite authors is signing one of my old books that I've like read and reread, maybe something like that, maybe I'd have them addressed to me, but I wouldn't do it otherwise. So, yeah. And I asked him if he would write the quote on it, and he's like, okay, I gotta abbreviate it. So, I don't remember the full quote, but he wrote on the game, he wrote, yak, yak, dick cut off in the castle, Neil Newbon. And I'm like, oh, that's
You're like,
glorious. That's glorious. And I was like, I also got a picture. And he's like, awesome. And I'm like, so, real quick. And I explained to him the glasses thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. And he snatched, he very frugally snatched one of the glasses out of my hands and flicked it open like a Men in Black character and slid it on. And then he stepped around. He like, he doesn't walk, he glides. So he like glided around his table, picked up his like cup with his fingertips, drank it empty, crinkled it up, and threw it in the trash to like, I think he was like getting into the character from Resident Evil, because he said, he goes, let's fucking do this. And then he throws his arm over my shoulder, and he says in the Heisenberg voice, he goes, look at this boulder punching asshole. And everybody loved it. Because I think he thought I was dressed as the character. I think everyone was just confused because I just threw on whatever I could get in my suitcase down to Florida. So that was how that went. And so that was how that went. That was a magical experience. I walked away before Joe and his girlfriend got there. I wish I hadn't, because apparently something really funny happened. Apparently, because they're Baldur's Gate 3 fans. Apparently he like role play cucked Joe with his girlfriend, because that's just who Asterion is. Yeah. And I wish I'd stuck around to see that, but I got out of the way of all the other fans, you know? So yeah. Suffice to say, on the autograph side of things, I was more than satisfied. And then the last thing we did was hit Artist Alley, where my YouTube artist was.
Oh, okay. See, when you posted that, because that's the one you took a picture with her, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
my mom
know
was
her,
like,
but I feel like
my
she's
mom was
familiar.
like, who's the lady with the boobs? And I'm like, Jesus, mother, only the most in-depth analysis ever from your mind. Only the most philosophical, deep analyses
of people,
exits the secretions and enigmas of your brain. Truly. But no, she's just like, who's the lady with the boobs?
I love your mom.
I still do after all these years. So I see why. Anyways. So yeah, we just stopped by her and hung out and chatted for a second.
Did you tell her that she drew stuff for you and stuff?
No, yeah, she knew I was coming, because the night before, not the night before, it was Thursday night when we were playing Elden Ring. I was browsing Instagram and I saw her post on her story that she was going to be at she said, see y'all in Supercon in Florida tomorrow. And I immediately tapped her profile on the story. I tapped message and I tapped call, and I was going, pick up, come on, pick up. And Joe was like confused because he had no idea what was happening. And she picked up and she was like, she was dramatic. She was like, what do you want from me? And I was like, are you going to be at Florida Supercon? Like in Miami? And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. It looks like we have 4 stops now. And so, yeah, we saw her at the end of the day. And I think Joe is going to commission from her. So.
Oh, nice.
So that's. And then we took all our stuff, and we didn't eat the entire day because it was like $25 for a pretzel dog, and I wasn't going to do that no matter how hungry I got.
Yeah, you got to take food with you.
No, they don't let you take it in.
Really?
I think they had like a rule against it, yeah.
Wow.
But anyways,
that's crazy because all the conventions I've been to, you can take food in.
Oh, well, maybe I misunderstood the rules. But anyways, so afterwards we left, and then we gorged ourselves on Panda Express. And then we started driving home, and I was looking at all my stuff in the back seat, and I was looking at the photo, and I just sort of kept staring at it. And then one of them texted me in the moment. You ever seen that Wolverine meme where he's laying in the bed holding the photo?
Yeah.
Holding the picture frame? They just sent that to me, and I was like, fine, I'll put my shit away and talk. God. Ugh. And yeah, I haven't come down since. I don't know, are you in season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen yet?
No, I'm still in season 1.
There's a scene where Gojo's floating, like, in the air, like, belly up, like, dramatically just sort of hanging there. And that's how I've felt for, like, 4 days now.
Oh, I'm so glad you had a good con experience.
And like I said, and when I landed in California, when I landed in Tennessee, I got the email that said, here is your digital picture.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, yay, that's going in the old wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, new wallpaper alert. And you're like, it is also your contact photo.
Yes.
And I just can't. Oh, I still can't believe I did that.
I know! That's amazing! I'm so glad you got to meet so many, like, famous people. I feel like that's very rare for, at least in a California convention, I feel like it's very rare because there's so many people that come out to California for conventions. So a lot of them tend to be really crowded. So I'm glad you got to meet a lot of people and you got to see a lot of things.
Yeah, and it really like reinvigorated me because I didn't just appreciate, all the stuff that was given and all the stuff I got to see. It made me kind of want to like be part of that someday. So I've definitely felt a drive to go back to writing. So I'm going to cut back on streaming it a little bit so I can put more time into writing. So like I'm thinking I'll put more time into writing at the beginning of the week and maybe the middle of the week, and then we'll just focus all the streams and recordings on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because I wanna start finishing
that's
stuff
exciting.
now.
I love conventions for not only just to see everything, but they always inspire in some way or another.
And then the last thing I got, I don't know if you noticed in my selfies on the way home, but my my hat has a little sprout in it now. And that sprout is just a plastic like green twig, like from Hobby Lobby or something, on like a clip. And I got that from this woman. Okay, so Pokemon? Well, she was dressed as Leafeon, but she was like an apocalypse woman with Leafeon's ears and tail. And she had like on her bullet belts across her shoulders. Instead, it was just a bunch of sprouts. And I saw her, and I pointed at her, and I said, "Is it your fault that I'm seeing a bunch of people with just random sprigs in their hair?" And she goes, "Yes, would you like one?"
Absolutely.
And I was like, yes, please. And I stuck it right in this neat little notch in my hat, and it's just gonna live there.
I love people are so
from now on.
creative with the stuff that they just like willingly hand out to people. It's such a fun experience when people do that.
I think I want to do that next time. Like maybe I'll go dressed as Eustace Kid from One Piece, and then hand out scrap metal or something. You don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with something. But it's another thing it's made me want to do is we need to have like as big of a Boros crew meetup as possible.
We just have to figure out which con.
That MaraiCon is good in terms of like topic and time, because it's not till October next year, so they got plenty of time to line up a bunch of dope people and attractions, and you never know. We'll follow that one among others. But another thing that made me a little antsy at one point was in the wait time before Ella Purnell's photo op. While I was waiting in Neil Newbon's line, you know me, overthinking me. So I'm like thinking to myself, oh dear, what if she reads it before the photo op? What if she like cracks it open during her lunch break? and some dude standing nearby was like, I mean, it's like an old thing, bro. Nobody really does that anymore.
I feel like that's such a fun.
And I was like, no. When I immediately flipped out, I'm like, is that supposed to make me feel better? You're implying that I was the only one who gave her a piece of paper to read today, which means that the chances of her reading it go from not 0 to probably high. That doesn't make me feel better. And then Joe and his girlfriend started laughing. The letter was.
I love
like,
that you
funny,
wrote her a letter.
I'm proud of it because it was a bait and switch that I'm very proud of, because the first page consists of I wrote out practically verbatim. I wrote out, I'm gonna be 100% with you. You are absolutely my celebrity crush. And then I wrote diagonally, as big as I could, anyways, to take up the rest of the front of the word anyways, to take up the rest of that front page. And then you flip it over, and it's like 5 or 6 pages of me of nerd gush. Like, you thought it was. It's like that JoJo meme. You thought it was a romantic letter, but it was geek dump. But yeah, there was that part at the beginning, and then there's a part at the very end where I said, be it beauty or more badass acting, know you have a fan for life. So I'm proud of it. And then I came up with something that I think was rather adorable, because I was trying to figure out how to end it, and I was like, Joe, from sounds lazy, love sounds inappropriate. Am I right? And he's like, probably. And I'm like, I got it. And then I wrote, hoping you continue to aspire and inspire. And then I just wrote my name. And then below my name, I wrote AKA PirateKingBoros, because I'm a dummy. I don't know why that would matter, or why she'd care, or what that would even mean, if anything, to her. She'd probably just read that and go, what?
Maybe she'll do a little Google. Maybe she'll find you. Who knows?
I hope not, because I proclaim my love to her loudly and often on my YouTube channel. Knowing my luck, she'll click the Game Awards 2023 reaction, where when she walks out on stage, I scream "wifey" at the top of my lungs.
That'd be hilarious.
But now, like, seriously, her size is one thing that I'm still hung up on. Just how dainty she is.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like celebrities that I have met, they are smaller in person than I think they would be. Because, like, I've met, like, Carl Urban. He was a bit shorter than I mean, he's still tall, don't get me wrong. But he was still a bit shorter than I was anticipating. And then I met Mark Shepard randomly, and he's a lot shorter than I thought he was. So, yeah, it's kind of funny how small people are in person.
But I was so caught off guard by it.
Yeah, a lot of women are
now
tiny.
I told you, like I told you on Instagram, I'm gonna kind of like lightly chuckle every time she posts a like clothing ad or something, because I'm gonna be like, lol, they gave you a tiny dress.
Yeah, they gave you the toddler size.
Or no, when a shirt is like too big on her, I'm like, lol, she's just wearing a normal shirt. But it was nice, because I feel like that was the perfect first con experience.
For sure.
I don't think I encountered like one negative emotion the whole time I was there.
That's good. That means everybody was there to have a good time.
Sometimes... Yeah. Hold on. Wait. No. Yeah. I gotta say this before I forget. I said I'm not gonna. This is the only time I'm gonna mention the actual event itself that I briefly referenced earlier, because it makes it's the crux of it. You'll laugh. Anyways. So I get out of the con, right? It felt like I'd entered another world, and I had proceeded to leave the world. And I'm like, you remember in you've seen the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
Yes.
You remember that shot of Gojo where he's like galloping through flowers going, I'm gonna kill you, like that guy? I'm doing that, right? Like, I'm just flowery gliding on my ecstasy, and I'd immediately start blowing up the family group chat. I'm like, I met Sonic the Hedgehog, sends all the photos. I met a dude from Resident Evil, sends all the photos. I met my wife, sends all the photos. And then my mother, God bless her heart, shoots me down immediately with, that's very good for you. Donald Trump was just shot. And Jamie, it was the most anime-ass background behind me shatters moment. Oh yeah, real life's a thing. Damn it.
Like, gosh dang.
I'm like that one meme of that dude in the background going, God damn, I can't have shit in this house. But I was just like, you know what? And then the memes started rolling in immediately on my Discord. And it got worse, because I sent they started talking about it on Discord, and Ben wanted to pivot away. He's like, I don't want to get too political, but that photo does go pretty hard, the one where Donald Trump's lifting his fist.
It's got the blood.
And Pepper goes, that's not even political to say that photo goes hard. It's just a hard photo. And you saw how I tried to swerve it out of politics. I was like, not as hard as my photo with Ella Purnell. And I just posted it. And then editor son immediately goes, nice, an alibi. And I'm like, oh. I love how Pepper never hesitated to roast me. I posted that photo in the Jinx dump tab, the Wi-Fi dump, the waifu dump tab, waifu dump tab, and he says anime villain ass fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And there's worse things to be called, I guess.
Listen, but, we are your friends because we bring you down to earth, okay?
It's great. I love it. No, it only added to the greatness of that day. But another thing that happened is right as we left the con, I was walking, and I don't remember why, but I looked down at the ground, and I saw that I was still shedding black snow. And then the Florida heat hit me simultaneously, and I said, wait! And everybody stopped. And I put all my stuff on the ground. I shuffled out of my jacket, balled it up, and then walked up to the nearest trash can and went chunk. And then just picked up all my stuff again and said, ready. And then we marched off.
Oh my gosh.
We walked off. It's time for a new jacket. That thing lasted me 6 years. It took
Wow.
6 years of use and Florida humidity before it started, like, becoming unusable.
That's pretty good, because it was like a faux leather jacket, right?
Definitely. The way the leather was, like, disintegrating,
Peeling.
it was definitely faux leather. And no, it was not
Yeah.
peeling, it was full-on disintegrating.
So
Like,
that's pretty good for faux leather.
I was like a Dark Souls boss, you know, just losing,
just
dripping essence across the battlefield. All I needed to do was pull out a sword that was on fire and then have a really disturbing backstory. That's all I needed, but
amazing.
It still feels so surreal. Like, I part of the reason I look at my photo on my phone repeatedly is the obvious one, yes, but I'm also looking at it because part of me deep down still can't believe it happened.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm looking at the one behind me. I have the physical copy propped up on one of my shelves behind me. You can probably see it during the stream. I think you can, but...
Well, I'm so glad that you had a ton of fun.
So how was your weekend?
It was not as glorious as that. Not even close. I am excited, though.
You didn't meet Pedro Pascal?
No.
Bummer.
I did not.
But I do
get to meet... Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out if I ever meet him.
Jensen Ackles? You're gonna meet Jensen Ackles?
I do get to meet Jensen Ackles in August. But yeah, for me, like, I don't really necessarily care about getting stuff signed. I want the picture. For me, if I'm gonna spend money on something, it's gonna be a picture with said person. And sometimes I get them for free because I have an uncanny ability to run into random famous people on the street. But yes, I'm excited to meet Jensen. The Supernatural convention experience I've had so far was amazing. So I'm excited to see the Austin one because I think it's one of the bigger ones because that's where all of the Supernatural people live. So, but yeah, I'm so glad you had fun. You and I need to do a convention. So we'll have to look at the conventions here in the LA area and also the Nashville area.
Would you be willing to help me with a cosplay?
Absolutely.
Because I could buy stuff, but buying stuff is like hit or miss with the quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, like, I'm about as savvy with a needle as I am with a paintbrush. So it just wouldn't be wise, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I will for sure help you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I love helping people with costumes.
Since I'm losing my hair, I could start wearing wigs.
Do you wear wigs?
Will you wear wigs?
Alrighty, well, I believe that is it for this episode, though. Thank you, Wyatt, for sharing your convention experience. I love hearing people's experiences at other conventions. So you can follow Wyatt around the internet at PirateKingBoros everywhere. I'll make sure to link his stuff somewhere in the description of something. And then don't forget to follow us everywhere you're listening and take a look at our Etsy store. We've got some stickers for sale that you guys can buy. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.